Om Nam. Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narancheva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashta Prayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Srimad Bhagavatam 3. Sakatam sevaya tasya
Sakatham savyatya
Tasya
alena jarasam gataha
kalena jarasham gataha
Prishto varta prati bhuya
Prishto
Prishtovati
vartapati
bruyat
bruyad
anusmaran
Bhartu
Bhartu
Bhalva
Anusmaran.
Anusmaran
Sakatam sevaya tasya
Sakatam
Sakatham
sevayasya
savyatya
alena jarasam gataha
Kalena
samgata.
jarasambhata
Prishto varta prati bhuya
Prishto Varta Pratyubraya
Harto padav anusmaran
Bhartu
Bhartu
padav
Bhalva
anusmaran.
Anusmaran
Bhagatam sevaya tasya
Sakatham
sevaya tasya
savyatya
alena jarasam gataha
Kalena jarasambhagata
Prishto vartam prati bhuya
Prishto Varta Pratyubraya
Harto padav anusmaran
Bhartu Bhadav Anusmaram
Bhagatam sevaya tasya alena jarasam gataha
Kalena Jarasamagata
Prishto vartam prati bhuya
Prishto Varta Pratyubrayat
Harto padav anusmaran
Bhartu Bhadav Anusmaram
Saha Uddhava Katam, how Sevaya Vaisasa with Tasya, his Kalina in course of time, Jarasam, invalidity Gataha, undergone, Prishtaha asked for Varta, message, Prati Bhuya, just to reply, Bhartu of the Lord, Pado, his lotus feet, Anusmaran, remembering. Uddhava, the served the Lord continuously from childhood, and in his old age that attribute of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about it. Uddhava, the served the Lord continually from childhood, and his old age the attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. Yes, Pandeyji. Yeah, Padi. Hare Krishna, Padi. Hare Krishna, Supriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Purport. Transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened. Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. In the transcendental service, there is no saturation and therefore there is no retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired, by rendering service in his physical body, he is allowed retirement, but in the transcendental service, there is no feeling of fatigue because it is spiritual service and is not on the bodily plane. Service on the bodily plane dwindles as the body grows older, but the spirit is never old, and therefore on the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome. Hare Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane, and therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidura about Lord Krishna, he at once remembered his Lord by reference to the context and forgot himself on the physical plane. That is the sign of pure devotional service to the Lord, as will be explained later on Lokshanam Bhakti Yogasya, etc. in Lord Kapila's instructions to his mother Devahati. Devahuti. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, थोड़ा सा light on. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जयो श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासदि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। सकतं सेवया तस्य कालेन चरसं गतः पृष्ठवार्तां प्रति ब्रूयात् भर्तुपादा अनुस्मरन्। Uddhava the served the Lord continually from childhood and his old age, that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked for the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. Very interesting point here. Prabhupada said, if you feel tired after service, that means it's not done in the proper spirit. Because spiritual service is so energizing. There is a famous saying in English, if you do what you want to do, then you do not work at all. If you do what you want to do, then there is no work at all. Just like a mother plays with a child. Externally, it's very tiring, all that bathing the child, doing this. She enjoys so much. She's not feeling tired, she's enjoying it. So if you do the work you like to do, then where there is tires, you don't feel a leave. Normally, you see in the society, people do 1 day leave was previously standard. Then they started 2-day holiday. Now they want 3-day holiday. Basically, they don't want to work or they don't want to study. Any day used to be in morning, used to get some message in the news. Suddenly, something has happened, some reason. Today, government has declared a holiday. They're all celebrating. It's celebration in the school, celebration in the company. People are very happy. They don't have to go to office. They're very happy. So that is how the nature is actually. People are doing work, but they don't want to do the work. So because they are doing what they don't like to do, so there is labor. Prabhupada used to say, where there is enjoyment in this world. Because laboring and enjoyment do not go together. They're contradictory. Laboring is very painful and enjoyment is pleasurable. It's contradictory. Prabhupada, always I see they're constructing so many flyovers, one over another, one over another, one over another. It's just a concrete jungle they're making everywhere. So they're laboring on it, no? Making now, first they'll make 20 feet road, then they'll make 30 feet road, then 60 feet road. Like that, they'll keep making wider and wider. They're laboring, 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 laboring. Where there is enjoyment. So, metal world is like that. When you're trying to create a convenience, you're creating inconvenience somewhere else. Just like a simple example. I can go from here to Bangalore walking. It's very pleasurable actually. It'll take 10-15 days, that's okay, but it's very pleasurable. Walking is the best pleasure. That time when the laborers are going back home walking, people are thinking, oh my God, what a calamity. Actually, walking is pleasurable, it's not a calamity. Very good for health. Walking is very good for health and it's a great pleasure. Suppose you go from Bangalore to Bangalore, you'll see the whole Ghat section, so beautiful. So many waterfalls are there and it's so beautiful actually. But anyway, society has changed. But just giving an idea. They think they have done anything, science and technology. But actually, people are enjoying life before that also. Not that people are sad before that. And then on top of it, you said, I'll make some convenience for you. You have to walk 15 days and maybe you can go in overnight or in 1 hour or whatever. So you say, okay, take example of roadways. I'll make road for you. But making road is not a pleasure. You have to break stones. But trying to create a convenience for me, which I could have lived without. But now you have to break stones to make a road. It's not pleasure. It's very painful. Oh, wow. And after that, somebody you pay, but he has to take the pain of breaking stones. After that, the labor of laying the road is there. You have to make tunnels also sometimes. Somehow you make the road. Now once the road is done, it's not end of it. Now you have to make vehicles. That also you have to take iron, another thing, you have to bend it, aluminium, hard. You have to hit and you have to cut. So many things you have to make. You have to cut for the seat, you have to bend. So much work is there. And then finally you get the car done. Again, labor more. There was a little, I can reach Bangalore with great pleasure in 15 days, not a problem. But he said, okay, one day. But then you are not ended up doing pleasure. You had had so much pain. If I make the list of pain you've taken, then I think better I would have walked only. Then next after that, when this is done, then vehicle, then it's not end of it. Now you need petrol. And for petrol, there is so many wars happening in the Gulf. So many wars. All situation is so violent there because everybody, all money, power is there to extract oil and get control of the oil there. In India also we have little oil, we have in the middle of ocean we got. So much labor again, so much pain. Then after that is not over, inconvenience, the pollution. So much pollution. So many accidents. When you're walking, what accident you will get? Hardly you'll put one leg on another person's leg. This. But here, my God, number of people dying every day by accident is in millions. So many people are dying. Accidents. We have made our position. And then sound, not only air pollution, sound pollution. Shukumani was taking class, he didn't have any mic. And hundreds of people are listening. All great Paramahamsas are sitting and listening. Today is so much problem. So much noise is there. You need a mic. In temple also, moment 50 people come, you need mic, nobody can hear you. Why? You can hear the vehicle sound. Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. He was enjoying the stay in Vrindavan. That time Vrindavan was not like today. Very silent place. He used to write his Bhagavatam so nice. He came to America. What is this place? Horrible place. All time boom, 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 boom. He was so irritated. What is this? Boom, 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 boom. He was so irritated. Particularly used to make sound of that big machine. One, it will come, take the dustbin, empty the dustbin, big machine, guru, guru, guru. Proper civilization means shanti. Civilization means shanti. Where there is shanti, there is so much ashanti here. You should laugh. Anyway. So then this is not over. Then they're talking about global warming. The whole earth is heating up because of so-called pollution. And the people will not be able to live on earth more than 100 years now, 200 years. So you want to make little convenience for me, you ended up destroying the whole earth. So therefore, we have to see where the labor ends up. So material labor is like that. It is not sustainable. It gives only pain, and you won't leave from it, vacation from it. But spiritual labor is different. 1 gram of energy, which is tapo divyam, directed, guided by the acharyas, invested for the pleasure of the Lord, brings eternal benefit. Neha vikramanasho asti pratyevayo na vidyate salpo apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. In this endeavor, there is no loss. There is no diminution, no loss, no nasha, no pratyavaya. Just like in bank, you have some money, you reduce, it becomes zero. But here, it remains as it is. This is spiritual. Salpam is the dharma se trayate mahato vaya. Even little service can lead you to save you from the greatest danger. That's the importance. Material endeavor is at the end of the day waste. It's not a big deal. So therefore, we should know what is supposed to be done. And here what we are seeing, the Uddhava, from childhood was engaged in Krishna's service, and the service proposition never stops. We don't want a holiday. Somebody says, I want break for 14 days, 15 days. He's in some maya. What has gone crazy, Baba? Spiritual life, there is no break. That's material consciousness. And spiritual consciousness, person develops more enjoyment in service. अरे बहुत जपा हो गया. I want 1 month break. What is the nonsense? ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. Is it like that? But you tell all the people working in the metal world, you tell them you have to work without salary, you have to work without rest, without on holiday. Who will work? I was joking in one college. If I come in a college for placement, then my notice board will be no salary. Seeing itself will be, none of the people are interested. Next line I write, no holiday. And then so many privileges are not there. You cannot watch movies, you cannot hear film songs, you cannot watch nonsense cartoons, you cannot play nonsense games, and you cannot drink. So many rules you make. Nobody will come. Nobody will come. So normal karmi people cannot understand this at all. But actually, it is the greatest pleasure. huh? Unless rules and regulations are followed, you cannot enjoy spiritual happiness. But then, at the same time, even though it is so many rules and regulations, even though there are big list of do's and don'ts, people who adopt such life, susukam akartum avyam, they are very joyfully situated. And joyfully. Prabhupada used to say, if I slacken these rules and regulations, then the process will not work. The process of Krishna consciousness will not work if you slacken the rules and regulations. We have to follow the rules and regulations. Then only the process will work. That is the advantage of Krishna conscious process here. So we see Uddhava increasing in his energy and enthusiasm. Prabhupada, spiritual world, God is unlimited, and energy of the devotee to serve the Lord is unlimited. Not like material world, where you want to do minimum. The idea is called minimalistic idea in professional ethics. Minimalistic. They want to do minimum. But Prabhupada has a different idea. Whenever the devotees report to Prabhupada they distributed 10,000 Gitas. Prabhupada used to say, double it now. What do? Double it now. Not reduce it, double it. There is no question of satiation in spiritual life. You want more and more people to take to Krishna consciousness. It is not that now we stop. No, we increase. So this is the whole effort of Krishna consciousness, where we are increasing in our energy, increasing in our taste for Krishna consciousness. Not that we stop. We want a break. Let me take 1 month break, 2 month break. Bahut ho gaya, I'm tired. No. Spiritual life, there is no break on it. Rather, we increase in enthusiasm, we increase in happiness and service to the Lord. So that is the condition of Uddhava. Your childhood, we see, even the Mahabhagavata, right from childhood, very happily. He was so happy in service to the Lord. Susukam kartum, not tired. In fact, we can test ourselves. If you are feeling tired of service, if you are thinking of taking a break from service, something is wrong. Because this is spiritual. Spiritual activities are ever energizing an individual, ever refreshing for an individual. There can be no question of tiredness in spiritual life. Prabhupada says we can know we are in spiritual or mental consciousness, and after doing it, how do you feel? Suppose to chant for some time, now I'm feeling tired. That's not proper consciousness. But rather I'm feeling more happy. Next day I'm waiting when I will begin the chanting. Sadhana Bhakti gradually leads to Raganuga Bhakti. A Raganuga Bhakti platform, he is very attached to the Lord. And service gives him great pleasure. And is eager to do. Now everything we have to push ourselves. But then he becomes naturally inclined and attracted to do. So as the bhakti keeps improving, that goes on. In the spiritual world also, that's the energy of the devotees. Unlimited energy to serve the Lord with great happiness and love. That's the spiritual world. Many times people think spiritual life means I'll sleep nicely. Prabhupada gives an example of Rupa Goswami. Previously, he says he was a minister. As a joke, he says he was sleeping 10, 12 hours. But later, when situation came that they became to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they came to Vrindavan, they were hardly sleeping. Prabhupada said they were hardly sleeping 2 hours, sometimes not even that. That is glorious. So spiritual life doesn't mean I sleep 20 hours, now I'll take rest. That is not spiritual life. In fact, Prabhupada used to say, whenever I'm taking rest, I think I'm going to waste my time. And Prabhupada used to sleep only 2 hours a day, 2.5 hours. 2 hours roughly in the night, and sometimes half an hour, small nap in the afternoon. That's all, half an hour. That's all. So when he's sleeping, he says, I feel I'm taking some, and you never see. You see, sometimes we are short of sleep. During class time, we'll do, oh, you can see tiredness. You see proper lectures, you'll never see that. Even though it's hardly sleeping. Sometimes they used to go from one part of the world to another part of the world. There is time lag. But Prabhupada, every routine was a routine. 6 o'clock, he does the same thing every day, goes for a walk with the disciples. 8 o'clock, he gives Bhagavatam class. 7:15, he comes for attending a Darshanarti and the Kirtan. Same routine every day, no change. Everything peacefully, the same routine. Sometimes they travel, the jet lag is there, disciples take 2 days rest. You should not take rest, continue the same routine. That then sleep is gone. No problem. That much kind of energy, even at that age. In fact, his disciples struggled to cope up with this enthusiasm. Yeah? So therefore, because we are doing spiritual activity, because there are no offenses in doing spiritual activity, there is only happiness and happiness in doing spiritual activity. But otherwise, it is very difficult. It is very difficult. Material consciousness means we are not in spiritual consciousness now. So we need in a different platform. We cannot imitate these great acharyas. That's not possible. Okay? So we can learn from Uddhava here that our spiritual life is begun just like a bomb. To begin, it will going to explode one day. So similarly, once we begin Krishna consciousness, it will end by our going back to the spiritual world only. But we can delay it. If we're making some offenses and all, we can make the process slow. But if we are properly engaged, it's just a matter of time. The spiritual life will bring fruit. And love of Krishna will manifest in the heart. So enthusiastically, we should continue the practice of Krishna consciousness, Usaha, Nishya, Dharya. And as we come to the proper platform, we will see that as we are practicing Krishna consciousness, the pleasure only increases, does not decrease. Spiritual life means it is better and better every day. Today my chanting is giving this much pleasure, tomorrow it gives more. Today reading Shastra gives this much pleasure, tomorrow it gives more. Today Kirtan gives him this much pleasure, tomorrow gives more. Today taking darshan of the Lord gives him so much pleasure, tomorrow gives more. It doesn't reduce. It only keeps on increasing and increasing. And that's the nature of Krishna consciousness. It doesn't reduce. It keeps increasing. There is no question of reduction in this area. Taste increases unless you make offenses. Otherwise, spiritual life is only growing. Vardhanam. Chetodarapan marjana bhamadavagi nirvapanam. Sheya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidya buddha vijivanam. Ananda ambudhi vardhanam. Vardhanam is in only increases. Spiritual life means our desire to serve only increases. Our happiness to serve only increases. And everything, our service spirit increases. Lord's pleasure increases. And there is no question of going back. One devotee is very nicely telling, as you've taken class, you want to take next time. He said, no going back. Once you do, there is no going back. It's so pleasurable. We cannot leave that activity. Not that I would like to have 2 months break now. That is some material consciousness. Only desire increases to serve the Lord. Okay? So in that spirit, we should take Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. You can read one more purport. Samuhurtam abhutushnim
Samuhurtam abhutushni
Krishnangri Shuddhaya Brisham
Krishnangri Shuddhaya Vrisham
Tivrena Bhakti Yogena
Tivrena Bhakti Yogena
Sadhu Nivritaha
Nimata Sadhu Nivitaha
Saha Uddhava.
Uddhava
Muhurtam for a moment, Abhut became Tushnim dead silent. Krishna angry, the lotus feet of the Lord. Shuddhaya by the nectar. Visham well matured. Tivrena by very strong. Bhakti Yogena devotion. Nimagna absorbed and Sadhu good Nivrataha full in love. For a moment he remained dead silent and his body did not move. He became absorbed in nectar or remembering the Lord's lotus feet and devotion like ecstasy. And he appeared to be going increasingly deeper into that ecstasy. This is all dance of Maya. For a moment, dance of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. For a moment, he remained dead silent and his body did not move. He became absorbed in nectar, remembering the Lord's lotus and devotion ecstasy, and appeared to be going increasingly deeper into that ecstasy. Yes, who would like to read that? Hare Krishna Manna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. On the inquiry by Vidura about Krishna, Uddhava appeared to be awakened from slumber. He appeared to regret that he had forgotten the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus, he again remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and remembered all his transcendental loving service unto him. And by so doing, he felt the same ecstasy and he used to feel in presence of the Lord. Because the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his remembrance and his personal presence. Thus, Uddhava remained completely silent for a moment, but then he appeared to be going deeper and deeper into ecstasy. Feelings of ecstasy are displayed by highly advanced devotees of the Lord. There are 8 kinds of transcendental changes in the body: tears, shivering of the body, perspiration, restlessness, throbbing, choking of the throat, etc. And all were manifested by Uddhava in the presence of Vidura.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
we can only respect, and this can be achieved if the heart is pure. The heart is pure, we feel ecstasy in remembering the Lord. We feel ecstasy in glorifying the Lord. We feel ecstasy in chanting the holy name of the Lord. We feel ecstasy in taking darshan of the Lord. We feel ecstasy in enjoying the kirtan of the Lord. The natural ecstasy. This comes, but we should be strict about keeping the heart pure. The Yogamaya dance will not happen in the heart if the heart is kept impure. That is the problem. Okay, we should be strict about. Generally, we are relaxed. चलेगा थोड़ा एक दो मूवी भी चलेगा दिन में थोड़ा सीरियल भी देख लेंगे एक दिन थोड़ा गेम खेल लेंगे थोड़ा कार्टून देयर नो एक्सट्रेसीज विल बी देयर इट्स जस्ट practicing Krishna consciousness like an official business and it will not last long any day you will fall down okay but unless there is pareshanubhava how can you go on how can you give up material enjoyment unless you have spiritual ecstasies and happiness. True, we cannot experience like the great Acharya or Uddhava. The Prabhupada says, just like a bird, a small bird jumps from one branch of the tree to another. But some birds fly deep in the sky. So similarly, the kind of ecstasy Uddhava is experiencing, he cannot reach. He is a personal associate of the Lord. But the smell of that actually at least comes when you are doing devotional service without any personal motivation and without any offenses. When you chant Hare Krishna, you feel so much happiness. When you enjoy Kirtan, you feel so much happiness. When you serve the Lord anyway, you feel so much happy. So that definitely we have to this. Once Prabhupada asked devotees, why is it that you are serving Krishna? Prabhupada because you told as a guru, Prabhupada because Shastra says so, Prabhupada because Acharya says so. Prabhupada said, no, that's not the only reason. Also the reason is your feelings of personal happiness in it. Unless you're feeling personal, some pareshanu bhava is there, why will you do an activity day after day? Bhakti pareshanu bhava virakti anyatasad susukam kartum abhayam. Different ways. It is always joyfully performed. Okay? So there is evam prasanna manasaha. As the heart is purified, very happily Krishna conscious is done without any kind of difficulty. So these are all landmarks for us. These are our Uddhavas. We are hearing the success stories in Bhagavatam. Whole Bhagavatam is full of success stories of so many great devotees. And now here is Uddhava, another great success story. We get inspired by seeing Uddhava's case. See, look at him. Heart is so pure. The moment he thought about Krishna, he's going to devotional ecstasy. So many a time we present Krishna consciousness more from a theoretical point we are presenting, without experience. But purity is the force. The more you are able to experience the pleasure of Krishna consciousness, the more it will bring Krishna consciousness. Other people have. Krishna consciousness is not just spreading of information, it is presenting the pleasure of serving Krishna, which can go from heart to another heart. The Prabhupada used to say, my books are my nothing but devotional ecstasy. Therefore, we should always find time, take a session of Srila Prabhupada in these books, and also we should take opportunity and continue to engage devotional service. Then this thing we can just understand what is having. Prabhupada always says, whatever you find any devotee having a fortunate position, you can achieve it if you are sincere. Okay? So these are all inspiration for us. Just imagine somebody tells you, can you tell something about Krishna? And then you're dead silent, and the whole consciousness is full of ocean. Just like Ramananda Rai, he was a devotee who came to hear from Lord Chaitanya. I said, can you tell me about Krishna? Chaitanya Babu told him, you go to meet Ramananda Rai. So he went first day, and Ramananda was busy with something he could not understand. Chaitanya Babu told him, go to him, don't worry, go listen to him. So next day he heard. Ramananda Rai said, I'm very sorry, I was busy that day. We were actually doing some Jagannath Vallabha Nataka, some drama he was arranging for Jagannath. So next day he spent time and the devotee started explaining. So Chaitanya Charitamrita says when he was talking about the pastimes of Krishna, the ocean of love of Krishna started shaking. Can you imagine this? Ocean of love of Krishna was shaking. And ripples, waves, what we hear Rupa Goswami says, waves and ripples are all shaking. Tsunami was coming like that. And the devotee was like unimaginable ecstasy when he was just hearing. Then he went to Lord Chaitanya and said, what a gift you gave me. He is the ocean of spiritual ecstasy. That is Ramananda Rai. Because the same way we hear, we can appreciate at this moment, but because we are not strict in following rules and regulations, because we are not strict in sincerely serving Krishna, we are not able to feel it. But we are on the way. Whatever chanting you are doing, it will purify. In the beginning of chanting you are doing, it's all Nama Parada. Then it comes to by chanting only, chanting gets purified. You don't have to do something else to purify chanting. You chant more, the chanting gets purified. Then you go to Nama Bhasa state. And then you go to Shuddha Nama, you feel ecstasy. So you should be patient. It's not that I'm not feeling ecstasy, no, but be patient and attentively chant. In fact, the devotee goes on in doing devotional service because of the past experiences. He has so many pleasurable impressions in his heart of ecstasies in different activities. Sometimes there is an Abhisheka. I was so ecstatic just seeing it. Sometimes there was a kirtan that was memorable to me. There was some class, it was so ecstatic to hear that. I saw the Aarti of the Lord, it was so pleasurable. And I took prasadam, and so ecstatic. So we can remember all that. We can remember, and that is what keeps going. These all things accumulate in our heart and keep us going in spiritual life. Hare Krishna. We close now. Any questions? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Kasya kripa sindhave patitana pavane.
Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha.
Audio